Okay, this May 13th meeting of the Troy Planning Commission is in session. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers.
I'm here.
Mayor.
Present.
Mrs. Johnson. Mr. Titterington. Here. Mr. McGarry. Mrs. Mahan.
Here.
Mr. Forrest. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. The minutes of our last meeting of April 27 have been disseminated. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions of those minutes?
Move they be approved as printed.
There's a motion to approve and support for the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are adopted. First matter to come before the commission, the district application for 103 South Market Street. Does staff have a report?
We do, thank you. This is a location that we did have a report on last meeting. Last meeting was for the permanent signage for this location. This now is for a temporary sign prior to opening. It's directly across the street at 103 South Market. It is for the New York Babel Cafe and Deli. Have asked to install a single-face window sign in the storefront. Colors are computer generated and are listed in the report. There is a rendition of that sign that will go up in the window. Of course, the picture is not great because it's laying on the ground and it's somewhat wrinkled, but they are the same colors as what is in the permanent sign that we approved last meeting. It has been reviewed for compliance. We do recommend approval based on the following factors that are listed in the report.
And they do realize that there's 28-day
They do.
max. Right?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Cafe, C-A-F-E apostrophe?
That is,
What's the apostrophe for?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That, from what I understand, that particular
Cafe.
logo and name
Otherwise it's
is a franchise.
All right.
French.
Does the commission members have any questions of staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Titian?
I see there's an email from Mrs. Davy. Well, actually, it's Dwayne, it's yours.
Correct.
Bobby Cheney has requested to put a temporary sign in the windows of 103 and 117.
Correct. The next report I'll have for you will be for 117.
Okay, so we're talking about two separate banners for
Two separate banners,
things,
two separate businesses, and two separate locations.
Okay.
Approval. Okay.
Is the applicant here? Okay. Does any commission want to take any action on the issue?
Move to support, move to approve, whatever.
There's a motion to approve and support for the motion. Please call the roll. Mrs. Dehan, seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, you're up to run next.
Correct. It's the same applicant, only it's the new location. We also had this one for their permanent sign last meeting. They are looking at putting a matching sign that would be temporary in their window for the 28-day period as discussed. It'll be at 117 South Market, which is right next door to Car Insurance across the street. And again, everything is in compliance and requirements, and staff recommends approval.
Any questions of staff on this issue?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval and there's support for the motion. Is any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Approved.
Next, we have the historic district application for 101 South Market Street. Staff have a report.
We do. This is a new business, as you are well aware. Earlier in the year, late last year, Mr. Davey turned 101 South Market Street into two locations by dividing the building. This will be a new tenant that will be in the furthest or the most northern section right there on the corner at Franklin. They're requesting to install 4 single-face wall signs above the storefronts, as shown in the rendition. The colors are computer generated, and they'll be black PVC with a 5 mil luster as described. They are allowed a total of 100 square feet of wall and window signage combined, based on the fact that they are on a corner that fronts to public right-of-way. These do fall well below that maximum at 51.6 square feet total. They are also requesting to install a total of 12 gooseneck exterior lights, as also is shown in rendition. 8 of these will be installed by this applicant. The other 4, with the agreement of the property owner, will install the others. So that way, at 103 South Market, they will have the same lights above their sign, so it appears uniform in nature for the entire building. This has been reviewed for compliance and meets that. Staff does recommend approval based on the following factors in the report.
A question concerning the depiction that I've seen
Yes.
here. I see the 8 that this applicant is going to put up, and then there's B and C. Are there going to be 4 lights on the south side of the entrance?
Yes, there'll be 4 lights above this location at 101, and the picture is somewhat cut off in that rendition,
Right.
but beyond the main entryway that they both share, there will also be 4 lights there. And then on the Franklin side, there will also be 4 lights there.
Then there's 2 lights right on the pillars in the front then also.
Correct.
Are those already there?
They already have lights there, they are just changing to this style, so that way it is all
And
uniform.
is that part of this motion as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, one thing I did forget to add, there is an existing sign that was approved to be in place that is currently there in place now. In the rendition, it shows an Award 1 sign that's basically going to be moved 1 section over from where it is now. It's a directional sign for Award 1 that was approved and installed sometime prior. And that's also part of this approval and request.
And I understand from our past issues, the applicant's not here, right? Oh, the applicant is here.
Yes.
Would you like to state anything for the record? Are you okay?
I think we're okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions of staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Titter.
probably looking at the same rendition that you were speaking of, actually probably the previous page where it did not have ABC. You see, and maybe this is just illustrative, but they're not, and this approval is not including any of this wall or the glass work.
No.
Is that
No.
just for illustration?
That's for illustration. There may be different window displays of merchandise from time to time as any
That's fine.
storefront, but that's just for a rendition.
And as staff knows, I've been concerned with covering of windows like that for safety reasons, so I just want to make sure that even if that were part of this, they do make an application that you can still see through if in the event of a fire or something law enforcement related that was going on. Okay, so that's good. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Commission want to take any action on this matter?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and support is given. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, next we have a historic district application for 302 West Franklin Street. The staff have a report.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Michael Williams, who is in the audience, has applied to install a shed in the rear yard. It's a 10 by 18 shed. It will be the color of khaki, and the trim will be cream. And I do have a layout to pass around. The shed features door and a steel roof. It is also that is prescribed in your packet. Staff does recommend approval for this application.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Titter.
Looking at the rendition, I guess is page 30 of the packet, at least digitally, is an aerial with the yellow shaded area of the property with the house, and I guess that black.
The notes where the shed will be, yes. The property has 2 front yards.
Yes.
And the way the zoning code requires, the shortest of the corners, which would be the West Franklin. The opposite to that would be the rear yard, so they have a very limited rear yard.
Okay, because that's going to be seen right off of Short Street as you're driving on Short Street.
Correct.
How tall is that?
Shed is 10 by 18.
No.
So it will be, I'm trying to read the actual size, 30 inches by 30. Does the applicant know how tall the shed will actually be?
I I do not know as far as the height goes, but if I may add, I was thinking about this, I like it a little bit smaller than what I applied for. It's actually a shorter shed, a little bit different design, it's made by the same company, Amish made, it's nice looking. But the footprint is a little smaller. I was thinking 10 by 18, but I'd like to do 10 by 14 if I could.
So you're modifying your application to the 10 by 14 shed?
Yes, sir.
Just a question, I'm looking at one of the pictures here versus the picture I see there. I see a different look of a shed. Do you know which one style it's going to be? Is it this one? Because see, that's different than this.
Yes, it would be a shingle roof without the, I'm not sure what that's called, on top of the center.
Cupola?
No proof
So it's different than, this was just a sample
Yes, sir.
of some? Okay. But this is the one we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And I could do a little smaller on that too, just to have something, but, because right now I don't have any, just a carport right now.
Is this the blue house?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I know which one it is.
And how far away from the sidewalk will the shed actually be?
It'll be even with it actually be behind the flush of the house. The house goes directly to the sidewalk, and it looks like it'll be. I would think it would be about 10 feet away from the sidewalk.
Sir, is there a reason why it's not put it back in the other corner, the western corner, away from the sidewalk?
Yes, there's a very large tree there with roots above ground.
Okay, that would be a reason.
That'd be a good reason.
And you said the house is blue, painted blue, but the shed will be what color?
The shed will be khaki and green. Khaki is the main color, and green will be the tread.
But the color could be any color, I don't care. But I guess through the color, that's fine with me.
Neutral.
Well, but depending on the blue, these are neutral colors, but if the house is blue,
That's a good question.
Well, there was at one time a swing set in the backyard. I don't know if it's still there or not. Is it still there?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And it's also has a fence around the yard, right? And the fence is what, about 3 or 4 foot tall? Or
Yes.
3 or 4, which one? 3.
It does vary.
Okay. And it's a wood colored fence, like a brownish,
Yes.
khaki colored fence.
is it a picket fence?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Picket fence. I think you're hearing some concern of the commission about somebody's storage bin being so close to the road right away. We like to kind of keep those things in backyards away from the view of the public. You don't have much room in the backyard. Is there any place, I see a carport here, behind the carport that it could be put or anything like that?
It does have to stay at least 10 feet away from the house per the fire code.
Okay.
He's
And the
limited.
house means the accessory building as well?
Yes, any attachments to the house.
He's limited.
Have you,
Really limited.
have you walked the property to see exactly where it's going to be and where it could go?
I have not. Shannon actually has. She was going to be presenting. I was kind of filling in for her. She did walk the property and did have contact with Mr. Williams about this.
Another thing to think about too is that if it were to go around over and be behind the carport, it may no longer be in the rear yard, it may be in the side yard, which would be against code.
Right.
It's pretty limited where he
He's
was
limited. He's narrowed. I think it'll be.
What is our definition on a corner lot of a rear yard again?
Rear yard is the opposite to the narrowest frontage. So the narrowest would be on West Franklin, so the opposite to that is the rear,
Which is where this is at.
which is where this is at.
And what is the setback from the right of way?
Setback from the right of way is even with the house because the house is set the house had maybe set the setback marking, so it just has to be behind the house to the front, which it is. we said he would push it back further, but there is a tree back there.
That's as far back as it can go?
Probably give or take a foot or two, yeah.
I don't think he's got much to do it.
Well,
I'd move to approve.
there's a motion to approve. Is there support for the motion?
Second.
There's motion and support. Any further discussion?
This would be the modified application.
Modified application of a 10 by 14 structure at that location and in the color set forth in the application.
He's limited.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Application is approved.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a historic district application for 321 West Franklin Street for the installation of aluminum handrail. Staff have a report.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Katie Bagadas is in the audience as well. She's the applicant and the owner. Just wishing to install a handrail on either side of the steps in the front of the home. The handrail will be aluminum alloys, twisted drilling in color of black, and it will essentially go, there should be a picture of the house. It'll go on each side of the steps, basically for the steps, and that is it. We do recommend approval.
Katie, do you have anything you want to add to that? Okay.
What is the material that's going to be on it?
It is aluminum alloy. It says it's twisted vinyl railing.
So it kind of looks like a wrought iron.
Exactly, yep.
And see,
Yes, go ahead.
The side of the house, we have another entrance, and there's been, those railings have been there forever, well, as long as we've been there, 40-some years. And that this would match those. Now, this is the front of the house, and they're on the side of the house on the other street, but I just thought, for safety, I wanted them in the front, but they will match the others.
Makes sense. Thank you.
We are seeing seeing this because it's part of the downtown historic architecture.
Correct. It's an alteration to the exterior.
I'll move for approval.
Motion to approve. Is there support for the motion?
I support.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Approved.
We're going to move down to number 8, the historic district application for 114 East Franklin Street for the construction of a 42-inch white vinyl open style fence to replace a worn wood fence of the same style. Does staff have a report?
We do. Dustin Blythe, who is here today, has done some landscaping removal that was some older, fairly unattractive landscape, and is wishing to now replace his fence with a white vinyl picket style, which this is a picture of the type of fence we're talking about, to replace the wooden that is there. It'll be an almost an identical footprint of where it is now. It may move a little bit closer to a retaining wall that he has, but it's still back out of the right-of-way and away from the sidewalk. And as you can see from the rendition that I provided, or the picture of the house I provided, this white PVC will make a nice accent to the gray with white trim in comparison to the old fence that's there now. Staff does recommend approval.
Thank you.
Dwayne, what's the height of the current fence?
42,
It is the same?
yeah.
It's got to be an improvement.
Any questions to staff? Is the applicant here? Want to say anything? Sir, do you want to say anything?
current one?
No.
You don't like the current one?
Okay. I would be more than happy to approve, make motion to approve.
Okay. Would you be in it? Okay, never mind.
Yes, I will be
Is
approved.
there support for the motion?
Support.
There's a motion, support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, next matter to come before the commission is the historic district application for 316-318 West Water Street for the construction of a 14-space parking lot on the vacant parcel. The staff have a report.
We do. The applicant, Alvin Cappers,
Who?
Say that
has
loud.
proposed a 14-space parking lot at the location supplied there, 316-318 West Water. This was at one time a large 2.5 or so story house that has been since removed. They are proposing to do a parking lot there. You do have a drawing from their engineer, Steve Leffel. I also have a rendition that I can either pass around or hold up. Basically, this would be about how the lot would be placed. This drawing was done by Candy Goodall last year when they were looking at doing this. Now, what you have in your packet will vary slightly. Where this butts up to the public right-of-way on West Water, they are going to be back about 4 feet from the sidewalk instead of going right to the sidewalk. The reason being was for engineering because of proper drainage. We did meet with Mr. Leffel, Ms. Rhodes, and Mr. Tieford, and they all have signed off and are happy with the engineering portion of this. This does meet all of our zoning code, and we do recommend approval.
Linda, you're here on behalf of the applicant, perhaps? Do you want to say anything?
I
You
don't.
don't have to. I'm just being courteous.
Thank you very much. No, I'm good.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Al, you were representing the Hayner?
I'm representing Improve Troy LLC, who owns the real estate.
Yeah, okay. Is this parking going to be helpful to the Hayner?
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doggone
Mr. Chair,
lawyers.
let it be known that Mrs. Johnson has arrived and is
Maintain
capable
a
and
quorum.
greatly appreciating the vote now, since we still have a quorum.
Very good.
Well,
Any
that's
questions of
assuming that
staff on
he's
this
gonna-
issue?
That's assuming you're...
Move for approval.
Second.
There's motion and support for the motion.
I'm sorry, who did the second? I second.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers,
Please note my abstention.
Mrs. Johnson. Yes. Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
Does the staff have anything further for the commission members?
And nothing today, thank you.
Commission members have anything they want to discuss? Not, I'll entertain a motion to, never mind,
To note that we will not be meeting in 2
please.
weeks.
We will not be meeting in 2 weeks. That's kind of good news. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.